supposed to be dead.
Get up. Wheel the money out. Out the window.
You know whose money this is? You know whose building this is?
Howard Saints. You're not gonna believe this.
We're really sorry about your family.
What do you think he does?
Maybe he's an artist.
Get everyone in. We're going hunting.
This is not vengeance. No, not vengeance. It's punishment.
Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic University. I am your professor, Mario Rivera, and joining me is the marvelous doctoral student, Slycone MC, who has a bachelor's in the MCU, a master's in the multiverse, and is going for their dissertation in Marvel studies. Sly, how are you doing today?
I am here, and, and that's how it's going.
Yep.
Of course, this week we're talking about a film.
That's right.
It's a film.
It is, yes, it was put to cellophane. It is a film, a celluloid, sorry. It is, of course, we are talking about The Punisher, 2004.
Oh boy.
Not John Bernthal's The Punisher, which, hey, I would actually want to talk about. I really love that film. I'm gonna try and not be cynical. I'm just gonna go right into it. Let's start with our first class, of course, which is talking about the information about the class, about the movie itself. Of course, we're talking about 2004's The Punisher. It is directed by Jonathan Hensleigh. I think is how you say it. Hensleigh. I can't say his last name. I'm sorry.
idea.
I'm sorry. He's, of course, responsible for such films as, I don't know, he hasn't really done much. I'm so sorry. This is how much, this is how much I'm like, you know, it is what it is. Nah, I'm joking. He's actually done quite a bit of stuff. He's done some screenplays here. He's done, recently, he has been, of course, done Welcome to the Jungle, aka the first Jumanji film. So he's been doing Jumanji. He did actually write Die Hard with a Vengeance. And he also wrote Armageddon and the Saint. So he actually has done a lot of stuff in the past. I don't know why I didn't write his stuff down. I'm sorry. I was very salty about this movie. But it's also, of course, the movie is written by Michael Franz and also the director. Michael Franz responsible for The Hulk, which we just saw in our last episode. The studio is Lionsgate Entertainment, which is the next studio that's added to the list of Fox, Sony, and of course, Lionsgate and New Line Film. So this is a new one. This film stars Thomas Jane, John Travolta, Will Patton, Rebecca Romijn, who's coming back to Marvel's movies, which is really cool. Kevin Nash, who, if you don't know who that is, Sly, I'm going to talk pretty much just about him. So it's going to be great. And Roy Schneider. So, yeah. Of course, you can stream this film on HBO Max right now, or you can be me and just buy the Blu-ray because it was part of a buy two get one. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So, Sly, tell me the plot of this movie.
Oh God. Okay. All right. Special Agent Frank Castle had it all. A loving family, a great life, and an adventurous job. Not how I would describe his job, but okay. But when his life is taken away from him by a ruthless criminal and his associates, Frank has become reborn. What the fuck? I'm sorry. Now serving as judge, jury, and executioner, he's a new kind of vigilante out to wage a one-man war against those who have done him wrong.
I would like to shout out Mystic80 for writing that in the storyline for IMDb. Thank you so much. Of course, going forward, if people want to write us the plot summary for these movies, I will allow it. You can send emails at mcuniversitypod@gmail.com. I would actually prefer if one of our listeners wrote these, but still, till then, we're pulling from Mystic80 on IMDb, who wrote a bunch of these, by the way. I didn't tell you. He has done quite a few of the plots that you have read.
All right.
But
I'm going to blame all my trip ups on Mystic 80. So thanks for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some of the characters in this film, of course, normally there would be, characters from comics that would be in here. That, of course, is only the Punisher himself and his family. Everyone else is made up. So, okay, we're doing one of those movies.
All right.
Yes. The one thing I do also want to mention that both this film and the last film, the Hulk that we did, were both produced by Galen Hurd, who had done The Terminator at the time, and also now is basically known for The Walking Dead. So has very much a huge history in making films, and I'm glad that she took a crack at it. One, both being The Hulk, a really great film if you saw our last episode, and this shit. So
Starting off strong.
let's go ahead and move on to our next class, which of course is the Stanley Seminar, where we talk about what we think about the film. And Sly, what did you think about The Punisher?
As I mentioned to you before we started recording, I have a total of 2 good things to say about this film. So let's get those out of the way first.
Okay.
One, there's this beautiful moment in the opening, like the first act of the film, where it's Frank Castle and his wife on the beach, and
Oh, yeah.
it's at like the party in PR, and they're both wearing white, and it's like very like fun, pretty with the sand and the white outfits, and then there's a hard cut to the funeral, and everybody's in black, and that transition, excellent. So good. I thought that was a really great transition. That juxtaposition was very nice. My second nice thing to say about this is the brother of the dude who he got killed.
Yes.
Kind of hot. Not gonna lie.
You're talking.
Every time he was on screen, I was like, all right.
You're talking about Saint's other son, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I can see that. I can
The
see
older
that.
son.
Yeah, I can see that.
Pretty hot. Yeah, those are my positives on the movie. Do you have any positives on this film?
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna talk from the heart. I'll say this full kind. I am trying to do this thing where I'm gonna reevaluate these movies on their merits and just watch them as films. The Punisher is definitely a character that I would say that wasn't something that I grew up with. I knew in pretty much association that he was a Spider-Man character at some point because he tried to kill Spider-Man. That's about as much as I know. It was obviously I saw this movie, and then years later we got different iterations. Primarily the one that resonates the most with me is the MCU one, which that's part of the seminar we talk about comparing it to all the other editions, including the MCU. And John Bernthal, to me, has done a great job of establishing the character. And I wanted to come back and revisit this movie full-heartedly, giving us a chance, giving Jane Thomas a chance, because I love Jane Thomas. Jane Thomas is an actor that I grew fond of because of a little movie called Deep Blue Sea, which is a bad movie, but I love watching it. And Jane Thomas is in it, and he's really good. He's good in other movies. There's actually a great Stephen King movie on Netflix that you can watch that is really good, that I really enjoy too. But ultimately, revisiting in this movie, oh my God, do you not only see the flaws of just trying to make something for the sake of making it, not understanding the source material, but also just the terrible things we were writing in movies in terms of tropes about certain characters and certain people, and just for the sake of shock, I think. And man, this movie just a dangerous grievance, but just dangerous is basically what I would say about certain things, which, it's funny to say that because the character is literally a character meant to murder people. We live in a society where that's such a messed up thing in terms of reality because, well, before pandemic and now even after or during this pandemic, we're slowly coming back to that reality. We see shootings constantly happening at school parks and stuff like that, and mass shooters, this is sort of a similar ideology, but this is obviously trying to take their way of doing it in a superhero context. This movie, I think, does a great disservice of how you could tell that story, in the way that his nonchalantness towards people in general, and the way that he, frames things in a certain way, I think is very, very problematic and messed up. And I think on a whole, that to me ruins this depiction of the character. Do I think is Thomas Jane good as him? Sure. there's elements of it that I think I would see if they did a sequel that maybe he would have approached, but to me there was just too much of a dramatic switch in the middle of it that I thought was just weird, that he goes from being this kind of Frank Castle to this Castle. To me, I just didn't see that as the same person in a lot of ways. And yeah, overall, I just think that this movie is just not up to snuff for superhero movies in general, as sadly revisited.
Yeah, my biggest problem with this as a film, not talking about like the story or the characterization.
Yes.
In general, the tone was so inconsistent.
Yes.
Is this supposed to be comedic? Is this supposed to be an action movie? Is it supposed to be dark and gritty? Is it humorous? Who knows? Because they threw all of it in there, and it's so jarring. Like you have this like very like gritty, dark, deep like storyline, and then you have singing opera and dancing in the kitchen, and it doesn't match. Like it just nothing about this film feels like cohesive. It doesn't feel like it fits together, and so that doesn't help it at all. Of course, as you mentioned, the script, the contents, uh pretty awful.
Yeah.
Like this is a character that only works if you care about the character. And we're gonna obviously be talking a lot about the Netflix show The Punisher, because that's one of the biggest comparisons we have, and I adore that show. I might even say it's my favorite of the Netflix shows. I really enjoyed that depiction because it took this man who cared for his country, who cared for his family, who had so much love to give, who lost everything, and trying to grapple with that and trying to learn how to take care of the world when in a way that made sense to him with what he was trained to do. He was trained to be a weapon, and so that he continued to do so. And that is a character you can empathize with. Here, he's not given, and we're not given any reason to care for him, right? Like they like mowed down like 30 people. Sure, yeah, that's terrible. But you're not telling me why it's important for him to enact justice. And that's not even to mention the very blatant fat phobia, the very blatant, using a queer character to like you as blackmail to be forcefully outed, and then that character they literally buried the gay.
Yeah.
And like all of these tropes, and then you have again the oh gosh, I can't even remember the girl's name because
The Rebecca
it's
Remains character?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, no,
The one whose boyfriend shows up to...
Yeah. She was go ahead.
So that in and of itself a problem, that like you're depicting this situation and not treating it with care, and then her like falling or having a crush on Frank was not good at all. Did not appreciate that. And just like so many of these story beats and choices were just gross, and just there's no way to justify that. And it didn't feel like they were trying to. They were just like, oh, haha, this. And I was like, nope, not funny. Does not hold up. Why did we ever think this was appropriate to be greenlit as a script? Like,
yeah, no, I agree. Like, why? Okay, so it's like, granted, this is a movie starring a man who gets his entire family murdered, and yet he is like the mustache twirling bad guy that comes with this master plan to like kill his friend, get the person's wife killed, and then like attach him to a car to a giant skull. Like, it is such a weird like villainous plot for your main character to kind of have, and it's honestly, what the fuck? Why? Like, and it's funny because you're mentioning the Marvel version, which to me does things so subtly. The beginning of his story is he loses his wife and 2 kids, and that's all you need to tell. It's for me to understand that character and what he's going through and what he's done and what he's, everything they do in the MCU. In this movie, they kill his entire family, and I don't care.
Straight up slaughtered all of them, and not in a way that gave us any emotional resonance. It felt like needless.
Yeah.
Like that, it was so egregious that I was instantly disconnected.
Yes.
There was no way to get me hooked back in. And yeah,
it's like, okay, once the kill squad shows up, it's like, okay, yeah, everyone's dead. All those, but even so, like, I didn't grow any attachment to any of them. Like, if it was, and it takes a large portion of the movie, by the way, is that section, and I knew nothing of them. Even so, but moving past that, I just found that interesting of how to hook me into the character and what me to believe into his plight. They just totally did a thing where it's like, well, what will make more sense? Well, let's just kill more of his family. And then people will totally understand why he would do any of the actions that he does later, which are also just far heavily egregious. But yeah, even so, just the characterization with the bad guy, they're just movie's just so weak and hard for me to comprehend why the decisions were made. I don't understand. Like I was saying earlier, this is from the people that brought you the Hulk, which I thought was a more thoughtful, examination of the characters, and was able to completely tell you a story that I thought was well worth your time. This to me was just like, okay, now we're gonna go hard R and we're gonna do these things. And honestly, it was like such a soft, low core, it's such a product of his goddamn time that it's just I can't even think logically about it because it just makes me angry every time I think about it.
and that's the thing. There was not even the action was compelling. It was either mowing down people,
Yeah.
or it was the fight scene with the Russian in his apartment, and they spent so much time establishing that apartment as a goddamn fortress, and then one dude shows up and he can't find a single weapon. You spent so long developing that in the film, so much time on that being impenetrable, weapons everywhere, and then one dude shows up and you can't find a single weapon besides the knife that you jacked from the asshole boyfriend.
Yeah.
That made me so disconnected from that entire fight scene, because I was like, this makes no sense. You're wasting so much time on both the setting up of that fight and the fight itself, where it meant nothing.
Yeah. And they didn't even get to eat dessert, damn it.
And they didn't get dessert.
No, so egregious there. I'll bring up the fight there with the Russian, pretty much because this is where I get to talk about Kevin Nash. That, of course, is played by WCW wrestler Kevin Nash, who looks incredible. And the only real piece of trivia that I have for the movie, and it's the only thing I care about because it has something to do with Kevin Nash, when Thomas Jane stabs him in the chest, that was real. He actually stabbed him, and he had that reaction of that cool. He did not flinch.
That was an incredible moment. Oh my god!
It was an accident. It wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to be a fake thing, and he actually stabs him, and that's real. That's an actual he does not flinch. It wasn't until later he had to go to hospital and stuff like that. But yeah, so Kevin Nash, fucking awesome for doing that. Kevin Nash, if you don't know, have you watched any of the Magic Mike films at all? You should watch the Magic Mike films. They're so good.
All right.
But he plays a character called Tarzan, and he's one of the male strippers also in that movie. So good. But yeah, Kevin Nash. I think that fight scene overall, because of my association with Kevin Nash, he
was great.
I enjoyed that, but I totally agree with you. The fact that he made a fortress and had guns in a certain drawer and completely garbage. Even tried to blow him up, I think, at one point until it didn't work. Oh yeah, you threw the grenade back at him. silliness. I think that's probably the part of the movie where I had the most fun because of the association with Kevin Nash. But you're right. Just the silliness of the cross, what's happening on the other apartment was also fun in my opinion. But
Yeah, I mean, I get what they were trying to go for. It just didn't click for me. It just took me out of the movie more,
it's fine.
and I was like, I can't do it. And then the final nail in the coffin
Sure.
was at the end of that scene. I got to talk about this movement because it drove me crazy.
Okay.
All right, so he got stabbed, right? Castle
Yes.
got stabbed,
Mm-hmm.
and the three of them run over and find him. And the girl takes shears, cuts his shirt, starts dressing the wound, right? Okay, she sews it up. The scissors are right next to her. She leans over and rips it with her teeth when there were scissors right next to her. No! So unsanitary! What the fuck?
You know the director on that.
I could not. I lost my mind. I had to pause the movie and I was like, they really did that with the scissors in the shot? Like,
You know the director was just like, I'm gonna go in there and take a bite out of it and it'll be fine. That would be a better shot for sure.
oh my gosh. That was my tipping point where I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm over it.
Yeah. Ultimately, the movie's divided into two halves. It's really the first half, which is, getting the family murdered, him coming back with the voodoo doctor, which was another weird thing to add. I don't know why they mentioned that. I think that was just a weird thing that, honestly, I'm chalking that up
the
to
one token black character.
Yeah, I'm gonna chalk that up to racism is why that was in the movie, and that was the only black character in Jamaica apparently. Whatever.
They were in PR.
Oh, you're in PR. Sorry, my bad.
That
What-
was one of my other notes.
yeah.
Is why is his family from PR?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Shout out. I was gonna say, are they? Wait. I'm gonna take that back. Are they
Or
Puerto
are they
Ricans?
just vacationing?
They think they're just vacationing, and that makes it even
That
worse.
makes it worse.
Just white colonialism.
Fuck that.
Why am I thinking Jamaica? I think I saw something recently where they went to Jamaica. Oh, you know what it was? It was the James Bond movie. They went to Jamaica and James Bond. That's what it was. That's why I thought that. But even so, I didn't know there were voodoo people in PR, but even so. Going into this, then the whole family gets killed, and then the other half is this Frank Castle lives Florida, I think is basically where this movie takes place, which, again, the comic book
Alright.
iteration and the movies don't have to match up 100%. As far as I'm concerned, I think Frank Castle's been known as a, New York character. He's, does the organized crime out there. This is them doing something different. He's hanging out in Florida to take out the Florida people, apparently. But he lives in this little apartment building complex, and then we're introduced to some colorful characters, including, of course, Joan, which is her name, Bimbo or something like that, I think is the other name.
I don't remember. It was some gross nickname that I was not
Yeah.
a fan of.
Yeah, Bumbo. Yeah. And then there was another one because he's a great actor. I'm trying to.
Piercings guy.
Ben Foster as Spacker. Dave. His name was Dave.
Who, when we're first introduced to this dude, is in front of a TV sitting in a wheelchair. Why?
Yeah, why? Because he just gets up and
Why?
And these I don't get it. He's a trash people and they have trash cars. I don't know. I don't know. That's just weird. And they live together, I assume.
No, the girl doesn't live. I think.
The girl lives in a whole other apartment, but they do.
Uh-huh.
They live together.
I think so. That's the vibe I was getting, but also didn't make it clear.
Didn't make it clear. I didn't make it clear. But they're again the high shoe. What did you think about the characterization? Because those are really the only characters in the movie, and you don't meet them until 45 in. What did you at least think of Dave, especially his scene specifically? Maybe
Is that the piercings dude?
piercings, dude.
Yeah, he was solid. He was the only one that I felt like got any sort of real characterization. Of course, it was the white man, the skinny white man.
Yeah.
Again, all right. But yeah, no, I just, they were there to make you care about Frank and him, becoming a person again after losing his family.
Yeah.
But they weren't established at all. They
No.
were just kind of there. And so another thing that was not compelling.
Yeah, definitely. They are just there to like, I guess, to be the comic relief in a Punisher movie, but honestly, they just sort of were distractions. And honestly, pawns for you to be like, oh, his entire family was murdered. These are probably gonna be the next set of people in his life that are gonna be hurt. And for Ben Foster playing Dave, Ben Foster is a fantastic actor. I'm actually shocked that he was in this movie, because he's done some great films as 310 The Yuma, Hell or High Water, and he's also, we're gonna also meet him in the next X-Men movie that we do. So I'm very excited about that actually. So he gets an upgrade into the next one. But
Upgrades, people, upgrade.
yeah, upgrades. But ultimately, yeah, I think a lot of these characters are wasted, including Rebecca Romaine, who this is the first time she gets to be in an MCU movie, not in Blue. And her only characterization, in my opinion, is listening to Evanescence twice in the movie. The same song plays twice in this movie to symbolize that she's sad and she's broken.
Oh, she's sad.
Yeah, she's sad,
Aw,
she's broken.
How depressing.
And then she's sitting in the hallway in one scene, like with her like leg out and like has this dress on. Or it just, I don't know. It was so just like music video, like,
Indeed.
I don't think we should. I don't even know. John.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was reading through my notes as we're talking, and at the top I said I had two good things to say. I found two more.
Okay.
What we got boobs.
We
We
did.
got boobs in one shot. Oh yeah.
We did. Oh
And it
man.
was.
My
it
blind
was
rage. I didn't
middle.
see boobs. This is bad.
It was right after the interrogation where he was heating up the
Oh,
steak.
man boobs.
Right after
Yeah,
that.
we had man boobs. What are you talking about?
No.
The real boobs.
No.
Okay.
The scene after that.
Oh, okay.
We got boobs.
Okay. Cool. I will look at my Blu-ray later and find these boobs. That's hilarious.
And then the last thing, the last shot, that sunset with the bridge
Yes.
was stunning. What a gorgeous
Yeah.
shot. Shout out to whoever captured that. That was beautiful. Really well done. That one shot.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Listen, I'll say this. I love the look of his character, the way that he looks with I think the shield, like the actual Punisher shield looks cool. I love his car. I love a guy in a black jacket, because I usually wear jackets. And honestly, I think that what he looks like in the film, like, yeah, I like lean versions of characters, and I think he's like the leanest version that we've seen so far, and sort of a guy who knows how to do some cool stuff. And I love the ending where he has the tactical vest with the spray paint logo as well. I thought he looks cool, and he's using primarily a bow and arrow in that scene. I just like how tactically different some things that he does, and I thought those things are cool. But ultimately, I just don't think that they're part of this film. But I just wish that they were in other elements. I'm trying to think. Before we move on, we should talk about probably the villain. The villain, of course, is John Travolta, played Robert Saint or whatever made up character. You can say any name, doesn't matter. John Travolta. What did you think about John Travolta and his very limited role here as a stupid gangster?
His only characterization is he has sons, and one of them died, and then the other one of them died,
Yes.
and he hates his wife. That's all I got.
Yeah, it took no time for him to totally just disown his wife so quickly.
The whole film, you never see them together happy.
No.
She's just there.
Yeah. I think there's a part where she's like, no. I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking about another thing. But yeah, the one time where he's like, go kill, like he's setting up the order, which is at the funeral, and he's setting up the order to kill Frank
She
Castle.
lifts the thing, and it's a dramatic reveal.
Yes.
Kill them all.
Just like, damn, she's a demon.
All right.
She's terrifying. I don't want to mess with her.
She can get it. She looked very good in this movie.
She did look good. There was the one scene, yeah, where she's like got the lingerie. Yeah, absolutely. Boobs and lingerie is a great film so far. And she goes to the movies every Thursday. That's cool too. She likes them opening showings, so good for them. However, bad thing to the henchman who sadly dies, and I guess we'll talk about it just because it's a part of this movie. John Travolta has a henchman played by I believe his name. Oh my god, I'm a terrible host. What is his name? Doesn't matter. I'm sorry, character. You deserve better. But you were a masochist and you hurt Ben, so you're a bad person. However, yes, this character is secretly a homosexual character and is outed in this movie by the Punisher as part of his plan for Saint to kill all the people around him. Why are we doing that in a Punisher movie? I just don't get it. It's about a man who shoots people. Why are we doing this weird, like, you would have never had sex with your wife? And he does this thing where, like, throws photos on the ground. It's like, see? It's terrible. Terrible. That's all I have to say. It's terrible, and you should be ashamed for writing that in there.
It's just so gross. Like, having a gay character that is being threatened to be forcefully outed. That's not good storytelling.
No.
That's nothing about that's compelling. And B, killing the single gay character, it just plays into literally every trope. Like that character is just so generically a queer character in a movie from this time.
Yeah.
We don't need it. Why does this exist? That's my summary of this movie. Why does it exist?
Why does it exist, indeed? Well, I think we can go ahead and go to our last question here, which, of course, does this movie hold up, and is it still worth watching? Sly, I know you just kind of said it, but is it worth watching?
Absolutely not. If anybody watched this movie for this episode, I'm so sorry. I really hope you watched this episode and enjoyed this episode, but do not watch this movie.
Yeah, this is sadly the first time that we're doing this from, like, this movie doesn't hold up on any level in a way that I think it's redeemable. And it honestly, I'm glad that we sort of kind of forgotten it over time. And this is actually, funny enough, I'm going to mention this now. This is not the first time they've done a Punisher movie. They've actually done a Punisher movie before in the 80s starring Dolph Lundgren. We might visit that one day on this show, by the way. If you notice, there's a few movies that we kind of left off on our timeline because we're kind of focusing on the more modern films. We may get to those eventually. We'll tell you how to do that in the future. But yes, this is not the first time, and this isn't the last time, thank God, which we got John Bernthal's depiction on the Netflix show, which really got to dive deep at the character. And I think that is much more worth your time than seeing anything that this one has to do. So I very much
highly recommend the Netflix show. It's, like I said, it's probably my favorite of the Netflix Marvel shows.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed what they did with the character, which is why I think I'm so disappointed by this movie.
Yes.
Because I really wanted to like this character.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have anything that I loved about this character with this portrayal.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it's funny. You wrote something in the document just right there. You reminded me of my only other part that I like about this movie. I did like the guitar guy. I thought that was kind of cool because he painted his nails, and he had an ominous feeling to him, and I actually like that. And then, but his ending is terrible. But I loved that extended scene of him playing the guitar and writing a song about Castle. That was cool. That is something I would love to see in later depictions of this really charismatic bad guy that the movie sorely lacked in, and you only get him for 2 minutes, really, and that's sad. So that is it. And shout out to that guy. Very much a John. What is it? Johnny. I don't want to say Johnny Depp. I got him stuck in my mind from the last episode. Hurt, that guy. Forgot his name. I'm gonna shut up now. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next class, or drama class, where we go ahead and reenact some of our favorite quotes from our movies. And honestly, we actually do have some fun things that they do say, and we're gonna go ahead and do some of this. So, let's see here. Do you want to do the first one, or do you want me to do it?
I can do the first one.
Go ahead. I want to hear your best Spanish.
All right. My Spanish is fine. Not great. But of course the dude goes, Vaya con Dios, Castle. Go with God.
God's going to sit this one out. That was dope. And
That was
then...
great moment.
Let's see here. Is these one lines or are these two lines? Like, are these...
Yeah, this is the one line. It's from middle of the fight. He just goes, you shouldn't play with knives.
And then You're One of Us, Your Family. That one as well.
That's the piercings, dude.
Oh, oh my
Where
god.
he's like, you don't even know me. Why would you suffer this torture for me? And he goes, you're one of us. You're family. And I
Listen.
was like, no, he's not. But okay.
Thank you, Ben Foster. You deserve better than this movie. God.
His portrayal of that line, great. I would say look up the clip. Look up the Vaya con Dios clip, and then
Yes.
look up the You're One of Us, Your Family clip. And that's all you need to see from this movie.
Yeah. Let's do that one. Okay, this one, I've tried to block these things out of mind. Like the Punisher wouldn't do this. Why would we do this? Do you want to be Frank Castle? Or do you want to be the police chief?
I want you to do the end monologue, so I'll do this one.
Okay, got it. Let's see.
It's been 5 months since my family was killed. I don't see one man in jail.
Obviously, you're upset.
Upset, is that the word? I used to get upset when I got a flat tire, when a plane was delayed. I used to get upset when the Yankees won the series. So if that's what upset means, what am I feeling now? If you know the word, tell me, because I don't.
Such a weird, like, Frank Castle's alive. I'm gonna confront the
He's
police.
gonna stroll up here and be like, "Rah, rah, rah."
Yeah, no.
They tried.
Yeah. You don't get the Punisher unless you catch him and he has a monologue in court, which is dope. It's in the Punisher show. I see it all the time on TikTok. People still share that a lot. Let's see here. All right, so you want me to do this last one here? I leave this as a declaration of intent, so no one will be confused. 1. Si visis pacem, parabellum. Latin, boot camp sergeant made us recite this like a prayer. Si vis pacem parabellum. If you want peace, prepare for war. 2. Frank Castle is dead. He has died with his family. 3. In certain extreme situations, the law is inadequate. In order to shame its inadequacy, it is necessary to act outside the law, to pursue natural justice. This is not vengeance. Revenge is not a valid motive. It is an emotional response. No, not vengeance. Punishment. You know what?
I think that sums up
Yeah.
all their fundamental misunderstandings of this
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
It's set over that beautiful sunset shot, though.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? You've tried.
Yeah. Okay. Well, getting out of drama class, we're of course moving on to music room, which is superhero movies of this era remember for their original soundtrack. Does this music in this movie hold up or have any songs that are still bangers today? I am going to say the song that is used to depict Joan and her sad state, which is played twice, is actually a good song to listen on its own, which of course is done by Seether with a feature from Amy Lee from Evanescence. This is the second time Amy Lee has graced our playlist. I listen to the song after the movie a couple times, and honestly, I do like it. I just don't like how it's used in the movie because it's very much telegraphing the feelings of the character twice, which I thought was a little unnecessary. But did you have any feelings on the score at all?
I mean, I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation. La Donna Immobile, which is the opera song. I don't like how it was used.
Sure.
I like the song. And I, like you mentioned beforehand, the dude with the guitar.
Yeah.
That was a great moment. I thought that was really, really interesting musically, fitting in with the story there. But other than that, that's all I remember.
That is fine. That is totally fine. This, of course, of the music that is being added, I'm adding the Seether song to our playlist, which you can find over at Spotify under MC University playlist. It is under the link down below, so if you want to click there, it'll take you right there. there's some good stuff in there. We got Spider-Man in there. We have some of the X-Men score I put in there recently, and the Hulk, and hopefully some future movies. So very excited about that. Eventually, we'll get to the iTunes playlist in the future. But otherwise, we're not doing quiz time because this movie doesn't deserve it. I'm sorry. The only hot fact that you need to know is Kevin Nash got stabbed, and that sounds painful. Don't do that. You know what? Some other fun.
Very painful.
Fun.
Not pleasant.
Not pleasant at all. You know some other fun trivia about Kevin Nash? He blew out his knees not that long ago, and it's real bad. But he's fine now. He got new robotic knees. He's all set. He's all set.
Ouch.
Very tall man. He's also in John Wick. He's also great in that as well. Okay.
Very tall man.
Very tall man. Very tall. He's also known as Big Sexy. This is Kevin Nash, Big Sexy. So
All right.
I'm going to show you photos of him in wrestling, and you can see, you can tell that. Okay, we're going to go and end this with Homeroom, which of course is our final thoughts on the movie. Sly, what's your final thought on this movie?
It's a film. I would never subject this to my mortal enemy. This does not deserve to be streamed. I just nope.
Just nope.
Nope.
Oh boy. Yeah. So I have same feelings. You don't need to visit this movie. You don't need this in your collection. You don't need to buy the Blu-ray, which didn't really add much. There's not that many good features and don't even do that. But yeah, I think that if you're going to visit this character, I honestly believe that the John Bernthal is the greatest depiction of the character in live action, and definitely worth visiting over and over. And I hope to God that we get more of him in the future, and we get to talk about the Punisher in the MCU in our extra credit series. I had to take a swig because I was running out of oxygen. Oh boy. So let's go ahead and talk about homework for the next few weeks. We're wrapping up December very soon, so that's going to be kind of cool. But the next movie we're going to be talking about is Spider-Man 2. So if you're ready and excited for the Spider-Man movie, next week we're going to be talking about it. And we're going to talk about Spider-Man 2, directed by Sam Raimi. So excited about that. However, I did want to bring up two other things that we're going to review in the future. After that, we're going to do Blade Trinity, which I'm very excited. We're going to close out the Blade series, so we'll be all complete on that. And then we're also doing Elektra. So I've never seen Elektra. I'm very excited to talk about that.
So excited to get to Elektra. I saw somebody talking about it. I don't remember where. If this is you, shout out to you. Somebody was talking about Elektra. I don't remember why, but I'm very excited to see it. I can't wait for us to get there.
Yeah, I very vividly remember the marketing, but I've never seen the film itself. So until then, class is dismissed.
Those who do evil to others will come to know me well.
No one's ever stood up for me before.